Hey, what's going on everyone? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at one of the brand new weapons with the episodes, the VEILED threat. This Stasis auto rifle right here, which is a very funny looking auto rifle if you ask me. Come on, just look at this thing. It's definitely unique, I can tell you that. To me, it kind of seems like a hybrid between like an auto rifle and an SMG. I think that's what Bungie's kind of going for here, with the looks at least of the weapon. But I want to take a look at this weapon because it's a Stasis weapon. We have a lot of nice Stasis mods this season, so Bungie has been, giving us some very nice Stasis weapons. We got the hand cannon from the Pale Heart, and now we have the VEILED threat from episode 1. So today we're going to be talking about this weapon, what makes it good, what makes it special, and also taking a look at pretty much all the perks that this thing can roll with, and the ones that you should be putting on it if you're looking for the perfect god roll. And at the very end, we're going to have a mini review where you just kind of go over the weapon and what I feel about it. And like always, we got to start up with how to actually get this weapon. And you're going to get this weapon from progressing the Echo's story. At some point, during the Echo's quest line, Failsafe will give you the weapons, and this is one of them. And after that, you can go over to the helm and start either focusing it or getting it from the weapon engram. Focusing it costs more engrams than just focusing like a random weapon. But depending on the amount of like weapons you have unlocked, actually just focusing the random weapon may be the better option instead of just focusing it. Now for the actual weapon, the VEILED threat is a Stasis rapid fire frame auto rifle, meaning that it has deeper ammo reserves and it also has slightly faster reloads when the magazine is empty. And it also comes with the origin trait, Radiolaria Transposer. Rapid final blows cause targets to explode into a pool of radiolarian fluid. So the bed smoke pools, that's basically what these things make. Every couple of kills, it feels like every 3 or 4 kills, you're gonna get like a bed pool to spawn. I don't know if you can have multiple ones at once. It seems like you can only get one at a time. So that might be the cooldown on it for the previous pool to run out before you can start getting some other ones. And now let's get into the fun stuff, the perks. And we're going to be starting off with the barrels, and we're going to work our way into the trade perks. So let's get started. So let's start off with the barrels, and this is the barrels that we have available on this weapon. We have extended barrel, polygonal rifling, chamber compensator, small bore, corkscrew, full bore, hammerforged rifling, arrowhead, and lastly the fluted barrel. And to be completely honest with you, what you want on this thing is mostly to look for some stability, maybe some range. So the small bore is probably going to be the best bet for your barrel. And this is talking about really PvP. If you want to take it into PvP, the small bore might be the best barrel. Now for PvE, the barrel really doesn't matter. You can pretty much go with any barrel in PvE and it'll be fine. It won't really change the weapon enough where it matters. Now for the magazine, this is what we have. Steady rounds, alloy magazine, appended mag, ferret mag wool, extended mag, tactical mag, and accurized rounds. For PvE, you're definitely looking for either tactical mag or appended mag. They're both going to increase your mag size, which is the main thing that we're looking for on this auto rifle. You could even go with something like extended mag if you really want to maximize your mag size. But I tend to like the other ones, tac mag and appended mag, just because they don't really reduce the reload speed like extended mag does. And for Crucible, there's no other choice besides accurized rounds. If you're gonna use this thing in the Crucible, you want accurized rounds. Nothing else is as good as accurized. So that's the mag and the barrel. Now let's actually get into the important stuff, the trade perks. And we're gonna start with perk 1, and this is what we have. First of all, we have Strategist. Final blows with this weapon generate class ability energy. Activating your class ability improves this weapon's stability. A Strategist is pretty much demo buff for class abilities. Instead of getting grenade energy, you get class ability energy. If you really like to spam your class ability, or maybe you have a build that deals with your class ability and you want to have it up more often, then this is going to be a pretty good perk to have. I actually really like Strategists. I've been using it on like multiple weapons, including this one, and it actually feels really good. So Strategist is a perk that I would definitely recommend on this weapon. Next up, we have Loose Change. Applying an element to debuff to a target increases this weapon's reload speed, aim assist, and movement while aiming down sights. Don't even bother with loose change. Really don't do it. Loose change is just not really that good of a perk, and there's just so many others that are better. Next though, we have To the Pain, which is one of the new perks. While this weapon is equipped, taking damage increases handling and aim assist onto the weapon is stowed. So this pretty much makes it so in PvE, you always have more handling and more aim assist. But those are stats that really don't matter too much in PvE. The extra handling might be nice, but you don't really need extra aim assist in PvE. So I would say that you pass on To the Pain. In Crucible, it has a little bit more use because the handling and the aim assist matter a little bit more there. But I still don't think that is a good enough perk to actually go for this. So unless To the Pain gets buff, I don't think we're gonna be recommending it anytime soon. After that, we have Shoot to Loot. Shooting and Overpower picks it up, and Shooting and Ammo Break picks it up as well. Shoot to Loot is pretty good in PvE. Just being able to pick up ammo and orbs from a distance is godly in certain encounters. But it's more tailored towards endgame. So if you do a lot of endgame, you'll probably want Shoot to Loot. If you don't do too many endgame activities, then Shoot to Loot is probably not going to be the play. After that, we have Attrition Orbs. Dealing sustained damage creates no power. This thing unfortunately takes too many shots to actually make Orbs of Power. There's so many other ways to make Orbs of Power efficiently that I don't think Attrition Orbs is worth it on this weapon. Next up, we got Fragile Focus. This weapon gains bonus range until your shield is destroyed. This is like the PvP perk. If you're tanking this thing into PvP, consider Fragile Focus. The extra range is really going to help this weapon. In PvE, Fragile Focus won't really do anything for you. Range doesn't really matter too much in PvE. The range stat doesn't really matter too much in PvE. So Fragile Focus is pretty much exclusively a PvP perk. And the last perk we have in this column is Threat Detector. You get increased reload, stability, and handling when enemies are close. Threat Detector, I could actually say that it's good on both, in PvP and in PvE. The extra stability is nice, the extra handling is nice, but the main thing that we want is that increased reload speed. You're gonna have crazy fast reload whenever you have Threat Detector on, so it makes it really useful whenever there's a lot of enemies around. So if you pair up Threat Detector with something like Extended Mag, then you won't even notice the negative side of Extended Mag because your reload is gonna be so fast. So Threat Detector, I would say, is definitely a solid choice for PvP and PvE. So the best perks that I would say in this column are Strategies for both, Shoot to Loot for PvE, Fragile Focus for PvP, and then Threat Detector again for both. Those will be the best perks in this column and the ones that you want to go for. And now let's move on to the second set of perks. Now for perk 2, this is what we have. First of all, we have Gutshot Straight. Aiming down sights increases body shot damage, but decreases target acquisition. This is gonna be pretty okay on Crucible, makes it a little more forgiving if you miss some headshots, but it will tank your target acquisition. You gotta keep that in mind. So it will also make it harder to hit those headshots and just people in general farther away when the aim assist starts dropping off. Moving target is pretty good for the Crucible. That extra movement speed while aiming on sights is good for strafing, and of course the extra aim assist is just good in general. Next up, we have Collective Action. Whenever you pick up an elemental pickup or through a strand tangle, you get some extra damage, and it's 20%. This is a pretty easy buff to proc, especially with Prismatic nowadays. Prismatic just makes so many elemental pickups that you're pretty much going to have a consistent 20% damage buff in PvE with Collective Action. So it's a pretty decent perk. Next up, we have Surrounded. This weapon gains bonus damage when 3 or more enemies are in proximity. Surrounded is a little more situational, but it is a bigger damage buff. It's a 40% damage buff. And you can pair up Surrounded with Threat Detector in the other column. So whenever you're close to anything, you're going to have tons of handling, tons of damage, and tons of reload speed. It would actually make this weapon feel pretty good. So I would say Surrounded, what's more of a niche pick and more of a situational pick, is still definitely pretty good. Next up, we have an Encore. Final Blows grants stacking stability, range, and accuracy bonus to this weapon, and Precision Final Blows give you more stack. This one I think is just an okay PvP perk. All those stats are pretty good on this auto rifle for PvP, but for PvE it doesn't really do much. Next up we have Desperate Measures. Final blows grant bonus damage. Melee and grenade final blows grant a larger damage bonus that can stack. Desperate Measures, now with Prismatic, is in a pretty similar situation as Collective Action, where this thing is pretty much on all the time because of just how many abilities you can spam with Prismatic. So pretty much you're gonna have like that 30% damage buff all the time. So I would say that if you're looking for a consistent damage buff in PvE, this is probably the best one. Desperate Measures. And lastly we have Headstone. Precision final blows spawn a Stasis crystal at the victim's location. Headstone's still gonna be your go-to perk if you're running a Stasis build. Being able to make crystals with this weapon just gives a crazy synergy with any Stasis build. So if you're using a Stasis build, Headstone's gonna be your best bet. Even if you're not using a Stasis build, just the explosion from the crystal and the damage it does can be pretty great. So it even gives you ad clear as well, just running Headstone by itself. So the best perks that I would say are in this column for Crucible definitely would be Moving Target and Get Shot Straight. And for PvE, I would say Headstone if you want it for the Stasis builds, Desperate Measures if you want a very consistent damage buff, and Surrounder for a big damage boost, but that's a little more situational. So those are the perks that I think that you guys should go for. And this right here would be my ideal role. We have Small Bore, an Appended Mag, Strategist, and Headstone. This is going to give us a lot of not only class ability back, but any of our abilities back, because I'm thinking of using this with a Stasis build. Stasis with all the fragments, with all the reworks, it is in a very strong spot. If you guys haven't used Stasis recently, then I'm going to be putting out a video soon on the Stasis build I've been using, but it's so good. You get to spam so many abilities, and this is a nice addition to that build. So I would definitely go for this god rule right here. But let me know in the comments below, what is the god rule that you would go for? Let me know if maybe it's like different perks than the ones I talked about. Maybe it's a completely different perk that I just kind of dismiss. Just let me know that in the comments below. And now let's talk a little bit about the weapon. This weapon actually kind of surprised me. It actually feels a lot better to shoot than I expected it to. I expected it being a rapid fire frame to have a lot more recoil, but it does not. Even without any perks to increase stability, the weapon just feels nice to shoot. The scope is actually not that big of an issue as I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like super bulky and just cover a lot of the screen, but it doesn't. It's still probably bigger than your average scope, but it's not to the point where it just becomes an issue. And the perks that are pretty good. I actually really like running my Headstone one. I don't have my perfect roll on it yet, but the roll that I'm using with Headstone makes this thing feel really nice. Like I said earlier, I've been running this with normal builds, with Stasis builds, and it kind of works with both. I definitely see this being a pretty good weapon to run with Stasis builds. You probably won't see this one as much as a standalone weapon without a Stasis build, but I still think that it's a nice auto rifle that people are gonna like. And for sure, I like it. But anyways, with that, we're gonna end today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, dislike if you didn't, subscribe to the channel in case you guys haven't already. And I'm gonna head out of here. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.